A misconception of a servant leader is that they are soft and that they give people what they want in order to serve them. However, a true servant leader should instead give the people they are responsible for what they need to be successful, not necessarily what they want. These needs could include things such as an inspiring vision, trust, resources, training, or even discipline and accountability when necessary. A case study of this type of leadership was Union Captain John Bigelow during the Civil War. Captain Bigelow was assigned as the new leader of the 9th Massachusetts Artillery Battery in February 1863, just a few months before the Battle of Gettysburg. Up until that point, the battery had only done garrison duty around Washington, D.C., and had never seen battle. Captain Bigelow was told that the battery had suffered from poor previous leadership, was thoroughly demoralized, needed experienced leadership and discipline, and that his work would be difficult. From the start, Captain Bigelow set a new standard, providing increased discipline, attention to detail, and training in the form of repeated drilling on artillery tactics. Not surprisingly, Captain Bigelow and his new standards were not popular with the men. One tactic Bigelow trained the battery on was called retreat by recoil. It was used to withdraw from a position when under fire from the enemy. As each gun was fired, it recoiled, rolling backwards, then was quickly reloaded and fired again, only to recoil and roll back further, thus slowly withdrawing the battery while still firing in the process. It was a difficult drill, and it is said that the men did not think they would ever have to use such a drastic tactic in a real battle. 5 months later, on July 2, 1863, the battery found itself seeing action for the first time and in the thick of fighting on the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg. As all other Union units around them were falling back under a heavy assault by the Confederate Army, Captain Bigelow and the 9th Massachusetts Artillery were ordered to limber up and get out in order to withdraw to a safer position. Pressed hard by advancing Confederates and knowing he could not withdraw as normal without taking heavy casualties, Captain Bigelow ordered the battery to retreat by recoil. Firing as they withdrew, they suffered significant loss, but were able to hold off the Confederate advance long enough to allow themselves and other units to pull back and reform in a better position. It was a difficult and risky tactic, especially with a unit in its first battle. Bigelow's superior officer wrote that the battery and Bigelow showed great coolness and skill in retiring their guns. Despite their initial dislike of Captain Bigelow and his expectations for discipline and training, the men of the battery knew that he had provided the leadership necessary for them to be effective and successful when they and the mission of the Army needed it most. Servant leadership requires that the leader put in the hard work and make the sometimes difficult and unpopular decisions to give their people what they and the mission of the organization need to be successful in the long term.